Good evening. Thank you. Town Hall. Yes. This beautiful building we are in was built in 1921 by suffragettes. The same women who won the right to vote. It was created as a meeting space for all people from every race, class, and creed to gather and learn about the important issues of the day. Several months after it opened, on this very stage, Margaret Sanger stepped up to the podium to speak about birth control, which was a completely taboo subject at the time. Police rushed the stage, arrested Sanger, and hauled her off in handcuffs. The audience rose as one in support and followed her to the police station singing, "My Country 'Tis of Thee." Margaret Sanger later became the founder of Planned Parenthood. In the years since, Town Hall has hosted lectures and performances by many of America's most influential social leaders. We are honored to be here tonight as part of this history. With each new issue covered in our inspiring program tonight, a quote will appear on the screen. And every single person quoted actually spoke here at Town Hall. And we, the resistance movement, stand on all of their shoulders. Please welcome one of tonight's organizers, the incredible Mark Ruffalo.
Hey, yeah. Oh, man, wow. New York, so fine they named it twice. All right, thanks for being here, Wanda. Thank you, you're beautiful. And this amazing history of this place, so there's no better place to be right now. Thank you for being here tonight. And I want to thank everyone out there who's live streaming and tuning in to us and working on social media with us. But I want to thank all the amazing, wonderful, dedicated people who stood up and been part of this great movement of decency. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy to watch something you care about be treated so badly. That's real. Now, this event is called the People's State of the Union because we wanted to give the people, we wanted to hear the people's perspective on where our nation stands. We wanted to hear from the people who are actually working really hard for the positive vision of America, marching, rallying, organizing, calling, writing, tweeting, Facebooking, educating, and caring for our country. Man, right? That's hard work. That's real work. I know you haven't been at a country club for half a year, huffing down cheeseburgers, sitting on a golden toilet, waiting for someone to bring you a chocolate cake. You've been working your tookuses off. And I also know you haven't spent the last year trying to cut out and carve out a tax break for the top 0.00001% of the nation. You guys have been working for people. You've been working your tookus off, man. So we should hear from you. And that's what we're doing here tonight. We're going to have the People's State of the Union. We want to celebrate this beauty, this beautiful movement and our accomplishments and embrace each other in this fight to protect the rights of all Americans, including our dreamers. Right? and to start to lay out the paths for a greater victory in 2018. Because we're winning back Congress, Emma. Now, anyone who might know of my background, I am no stranger to tragedy. But the one thing that I've learned in life is that nothing worth a good goddamn is easy. Life can be hard, you know? It can be real hard. Addictions, loss, illnesses, poverty, struggle. I mean, we all deal with that no matter what color we are, what our political beliefs are, where we come from, who we love. What I also learned is that there's a silver lining in these struggles. That we get a gift by these very struggles. And the one silver lining in Trump is that we have created the mother of all movements. We have come together. It's a transformational, international movement of decency. Our eyes are wide open. We are wide awake. And we're looking around at each other for the first time in probably decades. And we're seeing who we are and where we have to be and where we want to go. And so tonight we're going to hear from leaders of this new wave of democracy, representing indigenous rights, women's rights, healthcare, labor, immigrant rights, peace, economic and social justice, the environment, and so much more. The organizations and activists working on the front lines and leading these fights have something important to impart on us. They have a wisdom to give us. And we're going to introduce them and amplify their messages. See, as a celebrity, what I say doesn't mean so much, but I do have a light that follows me around. And I've had the good fortune of being able to put people in that light, shove them into that light that we should be hearing about. And that's who you're going to hear from tonight. And so we have these wonderful actors, artists. They're going to amplify the messages, and we're pleased to have this inspiring group: Wanda Sykes, John Leguizamo, Kathy Najimy, Rosie Perez, Lee Daniels, Michael Moore, Patricia Arquette, Cynthia Nixon, and Fisher Stevens. That's a big spotlight. You know, and that's why they're always telling us to shut up. Shut up, libtard. You just keep entertaining us. See, they want us to shut up because they know that when artists and activists and the people get together, real change starts to happen. And change scares people because they think, sadly, that they'll lose something to make a world more fair and just and equitable. And we got to help them drop their fear and welcome them to be more decent in the world, because decency begets decency. It's important. So for the next 2 hours, we're going to hear about change. We're also here to enjoy ourselves, right? And we're here to have some fun. So we're going to hear some music by Common and Andre Day and Rufus Wainwright. And we're going to reflect on the many accomplishments that we've made this year. We're going to set our sights to continue that work in the next year and strengthen our bonds and commitments to each other for long after the Trump era comes to its rightful end. We ain't stopping with Trump, okay? Let's make a promise to each other. This is it, man. This is our moment. Tonight is about unity, man. It's about our positive vision for the promise of America. That has to be fought for. But we can do it. Don't let the Koch brothers think they can buy the American government. Yo, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than your 400 million lousy bucks to buy our state. To undo the greatest experiment ever to be held in the concept of a nation for the people and by the people. Yo, Jack, we ain't for sale. But we gotta fight together. You gotta fight. And that means getting out of your comfort zone. Because if you're losing hope, you're not doing enough. We got to organize, but organize with passion and joy. We can't forget our joy in these dark times. It's too easy. We have to hold on to our joy and hold on to our families. Don't be deceived into thinking that somehow this is real. This is a test, man. The real work's ahead of us. We got to promise to make life better for all Americans, not just some. And make sure that fairness and justice actually means fairness and justice. We are better together. It really is up to us now. And as our Native American brothers and sisters like to say, we are the change that we have been waiting for. And I have a couple special things, but I'm saving one of them for a moment now. But with that, I think it's great. I was at Standing Rock. You want to talk about dark. You want to talk about the wolf at the door. You want to talk about despair. You want to talk about intergenerational trauma. You want to talk about resiliency. You want to talk about community, joy, and passion, and lightness of being. That's where it's happening. Our Native brothers and sisters have a lot to teach us. And so tonight, we are very, very lucky to have two very special, inspirational human beings from our native lands. I want you to join me in welcoming Tadadaho Sid Hill, which means spiritual teacher, spiritual leader. He's from the indigenous Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And Betty Lyons of the American Indian Law Alliance. They're going to bring out their beautiful kids, Sid Jr. and Garrett. There they are. Come into the light. Now, they're going to say a prayer that's going to open this evening and to create a sacred space for all of us that will encompass the work that we're doing and lift it into another vibration so that it moves out into the world from the place that we're all trying to come from, which is love. So, thank you.
So don't see us again, Jokwa. I hear some going, some guy this I sat neon guy hot dank. I ne hardik, don't neon wait to guess, Katahne and neon take. I go and what the Yahtat neck on a hand you. Eat it again, guy when Dakwa to know and got the got and they hand the guy who dickwe. And down that go here, 21 dot, then 21 takes it there, next scanner eye to enough to on your hick. Down that go here. Need you on wait to get on where you see it on a scarred with twine, what Nico. Eat then do the Yahtat, then do that no ha. Down it to deep near take on what Nico. Down the here to how and Jada did 19 no hot, 18 no hank. To know he and toss it out, eat and go out again, has to know the ongot what had and ongot ni go hi o stuck with. And down I ought net a gwig with that hind down and it some white this side. Or that high on tossy, I know it to a good guy. A guy at the can husset and a good joke gwiggy. And down I did with what they know yet, scarred and drawing what nickel hair what the to know her. Gwiggy with that hind down and it some white this side. Down it to deep near the don't got ni go her. And down and it's at the way in, I know uncle you say you're stuck with. Now you uncle a toy, I think night again, they'll tweet no knee. I are the Hohuin again, it's kind of at Gahadumi. I to Hagon, it don't talk up, net to the away. And down I did with what they know yet, scarred and drawing what you go her, what you know her, it's at the away. Down it to deep near the don't got ni go her. And down there, Hoy Wakashon going, I never shall go with her doing you. Nanga, we ho on it and Honadi Hon, that's go with Wakanistani. And don't they do it 80 so that had one doing this, take I once forgotten it tennis duck. And down the old net said, watch you out in the car guy. I got on it, it is all the soon car guy, and down it told you just enough wine. I know we ho on it, no need Honadi Honda, and I did what was on you. So I saw Honadi for the end, it's no need Honadi Honda. And down I did with what they know yet, scarred and drawing what Nickel had with it, you know her. I'll go again, I saw Honadi for the end, it's no need Honadi Honda, that's a kind yard. Down it to the near technon got Nickel her. And down there, so go yat dago, and go in and get to get the Yunki and Yado. And we want it, so no, they honor the Honda. And it who did the question that got Nico Hekation. And down the old net home yat dago, and it said, Wakawana, not this can yat dio. I net haha win it, however, not this and go at this high. And down I did with what they know yet, scarred and drawing what Nico had. You know, and it got in and get to get the Yunki and Yado. Night got Tony said, Wakawana, not next can yet die. Down it to deep near the don't got the go. And down that sat near yes in it some white this side. Night Hawaii, how when Jaggy Dun saw one and then so in a hair to know had you cooked that quats out new talk knock this side. Night yeah, you did to talk that quat. When the day you was soon a day in the hostility hard and it gonna went cost that. And night yeah, some good as yours in it, young go home with it, some go in there on the other day what. And I did what was on you, so us on some going to wake up. And down I did with what they know yet, scarred and drawing what nickel hair. But said when I had Nick guy here, I gave an argument some guy this side. Down it's the deep near the don't got nickel hair. Down it. So this is this prayer, or what we call a Thanksgiving address, is done in the Onondaga language, or one of the original 5 nations. We call ourselves the Haudenosaunee. French called us Iroquois, and the English called us the 6 Nations, original 5 nations. So this is what we began a lot of our ceremonies, our meetings, our gatherings, and it's about thanking the Creator for all the things that He's given to us to walk peaceably on earth. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming tonight and join this cause. I'd like to take this time to acknowledge my Navajo brother for his words, Jake Singer, for his words beginning, for the prayers and encouragement to all the people who are involved in tonight. So I'd just like to thank everybody for their coming and listening. Thank you.
I can't see. I'm honored to be here tonight. And first, I'd like to acknowledge the indigenous lands that we are standing on this evening. I'd like to acknowledge the Lenape and my own people, the Haudenosaunee. My name is Gainhia'a. It means small sky in my language. My colonized name is Betty Lyons, and I am a proud citizen of the Onondaga Nation. As Sid said, we are part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and what is also known as the Iroquois Confederacy. But why I came out here tonight when they asked me to talk about all the things I was going to say, I wanted to tell you about the best kept secret in history, in the United States history. And it's located about 4.5 hours north from here on the shores of Onondaga Lake. It's the birthplace of democracy. This is where the peacemaker came 1,000 years ago and delivered to our peoples a message of peace, bringing our 5 warring nations together. The peacemaker gave us a system of self-rule that guided us by moral principles called the Great Law of Peace. The peacemaker chose the white pine as the symbol of this unity. And the roots that spread out in 4 directions are called the great white roots of peace. The peacemaker placed an eagle on top of that tree to keep a watchful eye on the roots, and if any evil or danger approaches, he will scream loudly, sounding the alarm, and all the nations of the Confederacy will at once come together again to defend and protect. The peacemaker then took out an arrow from each one of the 5 nations and bound them together to demonstrate the unity and the strength in the 5 nations. Because as you can break one arrow very easily, you can't break 5 together. This is where the United States took the symbolisms of the eagle and the arrow. The second best kept secret is the United States government that patterned their government after our government, and the 3 branches of government. My husband's title as Tadadaho is roughly equivalent to that of the President of the United States. But what I'm going to tell you that he knows that this president doesn't know is that this title is one of responsibility, and it's not one of prestige or power. The Haudenosaunee were finally given recognition for the influence of our government on yours by Congress in 1988. Now I'm going to tell you about the third best kept secret. Haudenosaunee women inspired the women's rights movement. Just saying. Women like Matilda Jocelyn Gage, one of the women that started the Seneca Falls Convention. Haudenosaunee women hold the highest position in our society and our community. And our clan mothers choose our leadership through the principles of good character. Miss Gage wrote in one of her articles that the division of power between sexes in the Indian Republic was nearly equal in matters of government. The Iroquois demonstrated women's superiority in power, and in the home, the wife was absolute. I'm here to tell you, it still is. Love you. Gage concluded with, "Never was justice more perfect. Never was civilization higher." Imagine if women could choose the leadership of the United States. Then have the ability to remove those leaders if they were found to be unfit. It sure the hell wouldn't look like this. And we are so proud to see the Time's Up and the Me Too and the women's rights movement growing again. And it's about damn time. The United States took so many things from our peoples, but they left out 2 things: respect for women and the rights of Mother Earth and its sacredness. What did we get in return? 500 years of genocide, broken treaties, and the desecration of our Mother Earth. So there's hope, though, right? Because we can build this back together. To all you dreamers out there, when the colonists came here, they were hungry, and we fed them. They were cold, and we clothed them. And when they needed a place to stay, we offered our home. And the same goes for you. We stand united. To people of color, members of the LGBTQ community, people with disabilities, Muslims and Jewish people, we stand with you. To everyone else here, all of you here, we are all one family. You know, my Uncle Orrin always talks about how the exchange of blood, that it doesn't get any closer than that. We're family. We need to start acting like one. We hope that all peoples will see the value in protecting the territorial integrity of Mother Earth. And the last thing I want to say is we stand united. Are you introducing me? No, I was supposed to introduce Kathy, but are you going to do me first? Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Can we thank them? Thank you. Okay, we have a special guest. He's making the rounds. He's quickly becoming one of our treasured progressive leaders in the United States. He's the mayor of the great sanctuary city of New York City. And he's Bill Deblasio.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Everybody here and everybody watching around the country, New York welcomes you and New York loves you. We love you because you're standing up for all our people and all the people of this country. You want to know what the State of the Union is? Do you want to know?
Yes.
The State of the Union is people are fired up. People are awake and alive and organized and activated all over this country. Right. And listen, for too many years, I gotta say, before the age of Trump, for too many years, good people all over this country talked themselves out of their own power. That's right. But in this age, people are recognizing their power. It's the people who make a difference. We saw that on January 21st, 2017, all over the country, didn't we? We saw that in the fight that we won to save Obamacare. We saw that in Virginia. We really saw that in Alabama. So all I have to say to you is, it is not about what's happening in Washington, D.C. It's what's happening in every neighborhood of every city. It's what's happening in every town. It's what we do. It's what the people do. We are the ones who will take back our nation. Thank you. God bless you all.
Please welcome Kathy Najimy.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I have to say, I just heard some news, breaking news backstage. Apparently yesterday, Trump announced something shocking. He announced, this is a true story, he announced that he was not a feminist. I can't believe it. Sorry. Oh. As Wanda said, we are standing in a space taken over by women that many thought were crazy. They had the unthought of notion that women should have a say in the decisions and laws that govern their bodies and their lives. These women fought their sashes off. See what I did there with the sashes? For the radical idea that women and girls deserve equality, joy, and certainly the right to vote. Radical women are used to pushing boulders up hills. We're used to being thought of as trouble, difficult. Sometimes on my call sheets, it doesn't say Kathy Najimy, it says difficult. And we know how those labels have led to a lot of amazing women being silenced, fired, harassed, or jailed. The suffragists and the women's movement in the 70s, in fact, Ms. Magazine was just right down the street. And I just want to quickly say, my friend, organizer, goddess, writer, best person I've ever met, Gloria Steinem, is in the audience tonight. ahead, you can stand. That's Gloria. She said, don't worry, she'll take a selfie with each and every one of you. Oh, God, I love her too much. So like I was saying, the suffragists, the women of the 70s, the women of Ms. Magazine right here, and the African-American women in the heart of this country who created feminism. These women were thought of as fringy, a fringe category, the loud, the strong, the weird. In fact, many of the weird are here with us tonight or watching. Welcome. Welcome, weird. But through the years, we've seen our movement grow with some momentum. Things were looking up. In fact, the last election, freedom for women seemed so close we could almost reach out and touch it. But since January, I hate to be a bummer right now, but since January 20th, 1917, it's horrible. We've witnessed the assaults on democracy, on humanity, on the truth, the threat to our rights, our bodies, our choice, the threat to safety and dreams of our immigrant sisters and brothers, the possibility of our kids not having even one tiny sunny patch of grass to play on, and the threat of trafficking, sexual misconduct, and sexual abuse being tossed away as the order of the day. Locker room talk. Fuck locker room talk. You guys, I don't know if you agree with me, but I still have a little bit of the oily residue of 2017 on me. But what did we do? We didn't shrink, we exploded. From that despair came the resounding voices of women everywhere, in the streets, in the workplace, on college campuses, in the halls of our government. Diverse women, strong women, young women, not young women, from women who make $6 million a film to women who make $6 an hour, still both making less than the men who work alongside of them. Women by the millions are rising up and demanding change. Planned Parenthood and ACLU donations spiked. I know this because I Googled it. Sometimes I think Google just tells me what I want to read. I like my Google. The Women's March on Washington was a freaking pink-hatted party of over 750,000 women and allies, and even more this year, more women and men this year. I felt like I was swimming in a resolve that was no longer fringe, no longer crazy, no longer weird. It was loud, it was passionate, it was angry and funny and diverse. And some, for the first time ever, joined us in raising their voices in unity. Even those with the tiny whisper voices, you know those people who whisper? Even the whisperers, they roared up and out, enough is enough. The Me Too, #MeToo movement hit us collectively in a soft and unprotected place. It hit us in our flesh, in our very beings. Reaching out physically and virtually, each hand reached out to each hand, reached out to each hand. And from that courage, most who were threatened into silence and shamed are being heard now and supported. And ignited by #MeToo comes the world-changing Time's Up movement. Time's up, motherfuckers. Hundreds of Time's Up women, some who are in this room tonight. Through their visibility and such crazy resolve, have demanded respect, equal pay for equal work, safety and protection, and an end to coercion in the workplace, an end to coercion in all workplaces. And the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund that helps women and men who are harassed and discriminated against at work, through your donations just in a couple of months, has raised over $20 million. Okay. To wind up, we've always had strength, but with the vision and power of Time's Up, now we are mighty. The drive of the suffragists who stood on this stage in this room, that spark lives in each of us. You don't have to be perfect at it. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to have a lot of dough. You don't have to give up your life. Using your voice towards improving the human condition actually gives you life. To many of us Americans, evil right now is huge. We, my friends, are hugier. You know, Gloria Steinem once said to me, "Everything you do matters. A butterfly's wings changes the weather." Although my husband misread it as, "Everything you do matters. A butterfly's urine changes the water." Same difference. Everything you do does matter. And you being here tonight to support this, and you supporting the ERA, and you supporting a woman's right to choose, and you supporting Time's Up. Enough is enough. Time is up. Thank you so much. This is so fun. So fun. Okay, now it is my pleasure to introduce one of the founders of the Women's March, Paula Mendoza.
Good evening. I have had the honor to travel the country this past year and talk to women and men that marched on January 21st, both in 2017 and 2018. Yes. And across the board, these women and men, they have always thanked me for my work, for our work. And I am so humbled and so honored that they give me such gratitude. But I remind them, as I remind everyone in this room tonight and everyone that is watching on the live stream, that we, the organizers of the Women's March, were actually the midwives. And it was you, the people, that birthed this movement. And so the question is, now that this movement has been birthed, how do we sustain it? How do we nurture it? How do we make it grow? And how do we make sure that we win? And my belief is the way that we do this is that we organize out of a place of love. We have to love our undocumented brothers and sisters. We have to love our trans communities. We have to love our indigenous people. We have to love the women that have stood up and said, time is up, and me too. We have to love our planet, and we have to love democracy and freedom and truth. And it is when we find this love, this radical love, that we will be reminded and we will live up to the words that our dear sister Gloria Steinem once said, that we are linked and we are not ranked. So how do we show up for this radical love? We show up by marching. We show up by protesting. We show up by resisting. And we show up by voting. "2018 will be ours because it must be ours." We have to protect our communities. We have to protect democracy. We have to protect the truth. And the way that we will do that, we will do that with those that have never voted before. We will do that with those young people that are 18 years old, that have turned 18 this year and are saying to themselves, this is not the country that I want. I want a country that is inclusive of everyone and excludes no one. And we will win with the millions of voters that voted in the last election, in all of the special elections, and the election that is to come. And I tell all of these people, we have a plan. We at the Women's March launched a new campaign called Power to the Polls. And we are taking a tour across the country into 10 cities in swing states. And our goal is to register 1 million new voters. I would be remiss to not speak directly to my Latino community tonight. What's up, y'all? To my Latinx community, these past few years have been hard. We have been demonized by politicians and by the president. They have tried to strip us of our dignity, to take away our humanity. They have told us to go home when we are, in fact, home. And to my people, I want to remind you, I want to remind us that we actually have the power. We have the power to save this country. In 2016, there were 25 million eligible Latino voters. 11 million voted. That leaves 14 million Latino voters that did not vote, that were not engaged. Whether it is their fault, our fault, or everybody's fault, 14 million people did not vote. This president won the election by hating us, by hating immigrants, by vilifying the undocumented community. We have to protect our community. We have to protect our own. Our undocumented brothers and sisters cannot vote, so we must vote for them. And let me say this, 14 million votes, that ain't a blue wave, yo. That's a brown tsunami. This work is hard work. It's painful work. It's courageous work. And it tires you out. But when you feel this way, when you feel like you can't go on, when you feel that news is too dark, when you feel it is just nowhere, the end is nowhere in sight, I'm asking you to dig into love, to dig into that radical love, and make sure that you're doing the work, and make sure that you're making the phone calls, and make sure that you're getting your family out there to vote, because if you dig into that love, I guarantee you, you will save this country from itself, and we will win. Thank you.
It is our honor to introduce to the stage Common.
Peace. Peace to everyone here tonight. I want to say peace to my brother Mark Ruffalo. Peace to the gods. Peace to Thurgood Marshall in the spirit of the ancestors. Peace to our director. I'm very honored to be here at the People's State of the Union. I am for the people. I live for the people. I'm a child of God, so I relate to people and I understand people. Here we go. Here we go again. Trayvon will never get to be an older man. Black children, they childhood stole from them, robbed of our names and our language, stole again. Who stole the soul from black folk? Same man that stole the land from Chief Black Smoke and made the whip crackle on our back slow, made us go through the back door and raffle black bodies on the slave blocks. The civil rights movement in our modern history led to the Voting Rights Act in 1965, giving black people the clear and unequivocal right to vote. The fight for equality and justice began, however, on slave ships, as families were brought to America against their will and ripped apart at its shores. We were forced to build the foundation of a country that did not recognize us as human beings, but as property, bought and sold to the highest bidder. Now we slaves to the blocks, 'cause on them we spray shots, leaving our own to lay in the box. Black mother's stomach stay in a knot. We kill each other, it's part of the plot. I wish the hating would stop. War, and a battle with us. I know that Black lives matter, and they matter to us. The movement continues. To this day, as racism and bias in the United States permeates throughout all our social systems, we see how it's impacting communities of color in America, in our public schools, the criminal justice system, and innocent bloodshed at the hands of those charged to protect us. As voices have begun to shine light on these injustices, we've seen the power of the Black Lives Matter movement in raising our consciousness and lowering our threshold to look away. If we want to change, we have to vote for people who see us, who value us, who represent us. We need Avas, Ta-Nehisi's, and Cory Bookers, the salt of the earth to get us off of sugar and greasy foods. I don't believe the news or radio stereotypes. We refuse. Brainwashed in the cycle to spin, we write our own story, Black America again. Hot damn Black America again. Think of Sandra Bland as I'm staring in the wind. The color of my skin, they comparing it to sin. The darker it gets, the less fairer it has been. The hate made, I inherit it from them. But I ain't gonna point the finger. We got anointed singers like Nina, Marvin, Billy, Stevie. Need to hear them songs, sometimes to believe me. Who freed me? Lincoln or Cadillac? Drinking or battle raps? Or is it Godspeed that we travel at? Endangered in our own habitat. Them guns and dope, man, y'all can have it back. As a matter of fact, we them lab rats. You built the projects for, now you want your hood back. I guess if you could rap, you would express it too. That PTSD, we need professionals. You know what pressure do. It make the pipes bust. From schools to prison, y'all, they trying to pipe us. To your political parties, invite us. Instead of making voting laws to spite us. You know, we from a family of fighters, fought in your wars and our wars. You put a brother in Star Wars, maybe you need two. Then we'll believe you. See Black people in the future. We wasn't shipped here to rob and shoot ya. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Our men and women are created equal, including Black Americans. We write a new story. We're writing a new story, and someone who's writing a new American story is a woman who continues to fight in the heart of Alabama. Yes, a state that has a history of racist voter suppression laws and, since times of slavery, has institutionally oppressed Black people. She was one of the most driving forces in educating, encouraging, and inspiring Black voters to come out to the polls in the special Senate election for Doug Jones. It was widely acknowledged that Black women and men made the difference in winning that election in a state, yes. In a state that has not had a Democratic senator in 30 years. So New York, I want you all to give a warm welcome, a warm New York welcome to the founder of Woke Vote and Black Church PAC, Dawana Thompson.
What's up, New York?
We gonna save us, right? We gonna save us. 2018 is our year. Yes, it is such an honor to be here with you tonight on behalf of Woke Vote and all the organizations in the state of Alabama, but more importantly, the 30% or more of African Americans who showed up in a special election to support and do something that nobody thought was possible. Nobody. Listen, let me share with you, the South has long been this country's litmus test as it relates to its commitment to justice and equality for all. So many times we have failed. For far too long, southern states like Alabama and Georgia have been systematically ignored. Communities of color in the South have not received the same resources as communities in other parts of our country, even by our progressive brothers and sisters. So it was with no surprise that nobody believed what we could do. But we did. People in Alabama believed that we could do it. So we decided not to wait. We did not build our movement on a candidate or a political party. Our focus was on building Black independent power. Yes, we organized our HBCUs, our Black churches, our businesses, our Black neighborhoods, because we had a story to tell and a point to be made to the traditional powers that be. The same state where Martin Luther King Jr. wrote from at Birmingham jail, where 4 little girls gave their lives. The same place where young Black students integrated lunch counters. Against all odds, we knew that once again, the South could shake the world with our collective power, and we did it. Partially, we were inspiring people to vote with amazing videos, including a final Get Out the Vote ad with civil rights icon and Alabamian Congressman John Lewis, which we will play a little later tonight. And yes, as so many people have said, the time is up in all of our states. But there is no loyalty where there is no purposeful intention. We are no longer begging to be on your agenda. We are creating our own. We are proving that there is a space for faith and activism, that there is intersection for passion and strategy, and yes, y'all, even Southern Black lives matter. So Woke Vote are showing you today, and we showed you already in 2018, we're coming to show you that when you trust Black women and when you invest in communities of color, things change immediately. And we are not going back into our closets. We are not going back to our homes, but we are still working until justice rolls down like water and righteousness, like a mighty, mighty stream.
Blood and soil! Blood and soil!
When the violence of white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia shocked the nation, Republican President Donald Trump failed to condemn it.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
This surprised a lot of people, but many of us know this hatred firsthand.
In Virginia, the Republican candidate for governor, Ed Gillespie, who has been endorsed by Donald Trump, has been complicit.
Obviously, help from President Trump, Vice President Pence. I'm happy to have all the help I can get.
This election day, we need to vote for candidates who will condemn and fight against white supremacy, protect our communities, and make sure that we all have equal rights and justice. I want to be able to say congratulations to Governor Northam, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Congratulations, Mark Herring, on your re-election, and for Democrats to take majority in our House of Delegates.
Virginians, say no to hate and white supremacy, and say yes to a better future by voting for Democrats this Tuesday, November 7th.
From the video to the stage, John Leguizamo.
Thank you.
Look at you, all. Everybody here is woke. And you're doing your part by attending these town halls and by contributing money. And I look out there and I see that's what my America looks like. Look at all the colors here, everywhere. Now, I want to start by sharing a little fact I read that changed the way I saw myself. I read that Latinos are the second oldest ethnic group in America after Native Americans, of course. In fact, Latin people are of Aztec, Inca, Mayan, Apache, Comanche, Taino, and Navajo descent. And back then, we were so interconnected because we cohabitated, commingled, and freely migrated from North America to Central America, back to South America, up to Mexico, back. And we were all the same blood. And I can prove it because I had my DNA done and I had it tested, and they couldn't tell me what specific tribe I was from. The results just said Native American. And immigrants made this country. Look around you. I'm an immigrant. My parents are immigrants. Everyone here is an immigrant or the son and daughter of an immigrant or a granddaughter of a grandson of an immigrant. You're like chain migration right here. Except Native Americans. You know what Native Americans called this country before white people came here? Ours. Because America is the best country ever stolen. That's right. But we move on, man. We forgive, we unify. We don't move backwards and divide. This is called the United States of America, not the divided States of America. The Statue of Liberty has a plaque that states, America's greatest virtue, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. It doesn't say, give me your best, your white men from non-shithole countries, mostly from Norme. I'm glad you got that. There were no visas or working papers or quotas on immigrants until the early 1900s. Immigrants could come here whenever, however, whomever. The only requirement was that you could not have a cough. This is true. No green cards were required. It was instant citizenship. But when people of color started coming here, then the cock blocking started. And by people of color, I just mean any group that the white people in power didn't like or found threatening. During the wave of European immigration in the late 1800s, Irish and Jewish and Italian immigrants were considered people of color. They were vilified and stereotyped, unfairly blamed for the country's problems. The Irish, the Jews, and the Italians were the Latinos of their day. I don't need an applause for that, but if you want. But in all of our 242 years, the only group that has ever been deported from the U.S. has been us Latinos. You can applaud for that one. Since the 1830s to the 1930s, Latin people, about 600 of us have been lynched, and 500,000 of us deported in the 1930s with the Repatriation Act when they blamed Mexican Americans for taking jobs during the Depression. Sound familiar? And today, the so-called president of these United States calls Mexicans drug dealers, criminals, and rapists. Authorities can stop and profile any Latin person on a bus in Miami and ask them to show their papers. In Texas, you can be pulled over at a traffic light and ask for your papers if you're Latino. Sound familiar? It should be, because we first heard this in Nazi Germany. And by the way, the Nazi Party had an approval rating of 37 back in the day. So don't feel complacent about the Trump administration's dismal approval ratings right now. Until he and his whole racist crony cabinet are out of power. I'm going to skip this part of it over here. You'll have to see my show for that one. That's my plug. That's it. Okay, no, here's another plug. Recently, I hosted about 30 dreamers at my New One Man show, Latin History for Morons, and I talked to them right afterwards. I had a little talk back with them, and I found them to be the most decent, conscientious, hardworking kids. One of them is going for his law degree, for his master's at Columbia University, and these kids have lived their whole lives here. They are Americans, but they're about to be ripped from this country and everything they know because of politics. And the anti-Latino sentiment because of Donald Trump, because of Mike Pence, because of Jeff Sessions. But their hearts are so wrong, because these white Republicans all revere the memory of Ronald Reagan, but even Reagan believed in amnesty. In his farewell address in 1986, he said, "We lead a nation in the world because..." I'm going to read it regularly, otherwise we'll never get through it. I don't know how he got through it, but he did. I think he was animatronic, but whatever, it worked. We lead the world because, unique among nations, we draw our people, our strength, from every country and every corner of the world. And by doing so, we continuously renew and enrich our nation, while other countries cling to their stale past. Here in America, we breathe life into dreams. We create the future, and the world follows us into tomorrow. Thanks to each wave of new arrivals to this land of opportunity, we are a nation forever young, forever bursting with energy and new ideas, and always on the cutting edge, always leading the world to the next frontier. This quality is vital to our future as a nation. If we ever close the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost. This president makes me long for Ronald Reagan. Crazy as that may seem. Sounds so rational. And as Americans, we're not free unless we are all free and equal. And until we are all equal, Latinos, African Americans, Native Americans, Muslims, Jews, Asians, women, LGBTQ, then we're not truly free. We are still the wretched refuse. We are still the tired, the poor, and we yearn to be free. That is the promise of America. That is why we all came to this great country, these United States, because we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. We are endowed by our creators with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let's not lose sight of that. So people, go out and vote. 2 words, midterm elections. Make America great again. Really great, not just for the white and the wealthy and the male and for a stupid slogan on a hat, but for all of us. Thank you. Thank you all. Wepa. That's how my people say hooray. Wepa. Now it's my great privilege to introduce an amazing advocate, a real advocate, someone who is leading the fight for immigrants, Cristina Jimenez, the executive director of United We Dream. A big hand, please.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? That was a badass introduction, y'all. I know that y'all are jealous. I am here standing with members of United We Dream. We are the largest immigrant youth-led network in the country.
Hi, everyone. My name's Bruna Distinto.
My name is Dulce Lopez.
Hi, my name is Isaac Montiel.
Hi, my name is Chisu.
And yes, let's give it up for these courageous folks fighting for the right to exist every day. And we are here at the People's State of the Union to declare together that we and our families are undocumented, unafraid, and here to stay. That's right, folks. Regardless of what Trump says, we're here to stay. So I want to start by giving a huge shout out to all of the young undocumented people who have courageously been fighting for the right to exist every single day. Many of them are here in the audience. A shout out to you all. And many of them are probably watching us online. I also want to give a shout out to all of you, the resistance. Because together, and you probably have seen us like rocking our orange tees and beanies, we've been marching together against the Muslim ban. We've been marching together against deportations. We've been marching together against the killings of people of color and our black brothers and sisters. And for the last 6 months, we have been fighting together to get the DREAM Act passed. So thank you. Thank you, because I think the most powerful thing that's come as a result of all of the attacks that many of our communities are under is the strong unity that I feel it in my bones today. Do you feel it? Yeah. Take that, Donald Trump. I grew up undocumented in Queens, New York. Anyone from Queens? My New York people? Big shout out to you all. And with my family, we came when I was a 13-year-old and we settled in Queens. Like many immigrant families, we came here fleeing poverty from Ecuador. And currently, my parents are undocumented. My brother, Jonathan, has DACA. And like him, and like Bruna, and Dulce, and Isaac, and Jinsu, they are part of millions of young people who have been impacted by the termination of the DACA program done by Donald Trump on September 5th. Boo. My brother is one of the millions of young people that will be protected from deportation and given a pathway to citizenship by the DREAM Act. See, I want to be clear about something. You're probably hearing a lot of noise about immigration right now. But I want to be clear about something. The DREAM Act will protect young people like my brother and people like Rosa Maria, a 10-year-old girl who was followed by Trump's agents to the hospital, who then waited until she had surgery to then drag her to a detention camp. And people like Luis, who right now is sitting in a detention camp after being beaten down and pepper spray all over his body by Trump's agents. So all of the folks here on stage, Rosa Maria, Luis, and my brother will benefit for the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act will protect undocumented young people from deportation, create a pathway to citizenship, but without hurting our parents or without hurting anyone in our communities. That's what we need. That's what we need. So in all of this noise about immigration, tomorrow, Trump is going to be trying to sell his immigration plan when he delivers his speech. That's right, boo. His immigration plan tries to give undocumented young people protection and a pathway to citizenship in exchange of going after my parents who are undocumented, going after black immigrants, and going after the very idea that our families should stay together. So I'm going to be very clear about something. This Trump plan is no more than a white supremacist ransom note. And we stand here to say, no. There is no way that you will use our lives to try to win your white supremacist wish list. Hell no. Do you say hell no? So this is why we need you. Because together, we need to make sure that every single member of Congress, Republicans, and let's be real, Democrats too, both of them need to reject that proposal right now. Right now. No debate about it. No questions about it. We must reject it. What members of Congress need to do is to pass the DREAM Act right now. So that's what we need you all, brothers and sisters, to stand together, to say no to Trump's plan of trying to use this crisis to go after our parents, to detain more people, to deport more people, and to separate our families. And we can do this together if you and I work together to pass the DREAM Act now. What do we need? When do we want it? Now. What do we need? When do we want it? Now. And so I'm going to have, before I end, a moment of quick real talk here. So when I say real talk, you say real. Real talk? Real, real talk? Real. We're going to give real talk to members of Congress right now. Every single Democrat and every single Republican who does not have the spine to stand up to Trump's nativist, racist vision, hear us loud and clear tonight. Their resistance will hold you accountable. Because, brothers and sisters, every day that we don't have a DREAM Act in place, it means deportations for young people like my brother, and for our folks here on stage, and for millions who are watching right now. So we are watching, and we will hold you accountable, because any deportation will be on the hands of any Republican and any Democrat that does not stand up to Trump and passes the DREAM Act now. Real talk? Real talk? So I really look forward to continue to hit in the streets with you, because I know that the state of our union, this union, all of these social justice movements coming together is stronger than ever. I love you too. We love you. And I know that's what scares the shit out of them. So I know together we will pass the DREAM Act. Do you believe that we can win? Do you believe that we can win? So follow United We Dream to make sure that we get this done. And I also look forward to take our power back. Let's take our power back. Are you ready to hit the polls this year? Are you ready to say, we're ready to take our power back? So together, let's say it one more time. What do we need? When do we need it? Now. What do we need? When do we need it? Now. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
She's part of our We Stand United family, Rosie Perez.
What's up, New York? How y'all feeling out there? It's been a long night, you feel me? But it's all for a good cause. To everybody who's watching on the live stream, what's up? Power to the polls, people. Just a few things I want to hit. Common said, they're making our color feel like a sin. That's crazy. Paulo Mendoza said 14 million of us didn't vote. That's crazy. Tawana Thomas said, that's all right, because we're going to fix us and we're going to write our own agenda. That's crazy. So, they asked me to come out here to just state the fact that I am a proud union member. I am a union member of SAG, AFTRA, Actors Equity. My union, the Screen Actors Guild, AFTRA, Actors Equity, we are made up of artists, actors, theater professionals, and broadcast journalists. Throughout history, workers have come together to demand rights and protections on the job. The freedom to join a union is a fundamental right for all workers, and it's a right we must protect. Norma Ray, baby, Norma Ray, union. Unions fight for fair wages and safe workplaces for everyone. Unions got us 8 hours workday and a 40-hour week. You could thank the unions for our weekend. Thank you very much. And unions also work to educate and empower workers at the ballot box. Because of this very reason, unions are under attack. Think about it. Unions ensured us that we didn't have to work 14 hours a day. Unions ensured us that there would no longer be any child slave labor. Unions ensured us that if you worked for a job, you could get health insurance. Oops, Trump, I'm sorry. Okay, this is why they are nervous, because they understand that there is power in numbers, and that's what unions represent. They represent the American worker, and we stand together, and we fight, and we are going to win because we have won, and we will continue to win. The unions of America will continue to win. It's just about how we want to live our lives. We just want our fair share of the pie. We want our right to the seat at the table that was promised us with the American dream. And the unions, our unions fight for us to ensure that. And we gotta protect our unions because they protect us. It's a long night. Michael Moore hasn't even come out yet, so I'm gonna keep it rolling, okay? Because you know I could talk, but honey. I just want to get to the meat of this. So please, our next activist knows this fight very well. I am pleased, I am honored to introduce Henry Garado and the Executive Director of ASHME, I hope I said that right, District Council 27. Put your hands together, y'all.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Well, as you can figure it out by now, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not beautiful and charming like Rosie Perez. I can't sing. In fact, between karaoke and death, I'll choose death any day. I can dance, but it takes a couple of tequila, and I can only limit it to salsa, so fair warning. And the only time that I act is when I'm trying to get the children to take out the garbage in the house. But what I am is a union organizer, and damn proud of it. So I'm here on behalf of nurses across the country, on behalf of teachers and firefighters, on behalf of snowplow drivers and school aides and school crossing guards who get up every day to make this great nation what it is today. I'm also an immigrant, and I came to this country attracted to the greatness of this country, not because of its great buildings or its celebrity, quite frankly. I got attracted by an ideal that America was great because it allowed people like me to pursue life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness, that it could keep the playing ground level for people that are working for a living. And many people, like myself, working people across this country, voted for Donald Trump, and they were lied to. They were lied to, brothers and sisters. They were angry, and they were upset, and they were upset about an America where we had a rigged economy, where it seemed that the working men and women were getting the shaft. And they were bamboozled in an idea and con of a man that promised to fight for them. He lied. He lied. He lied. He lied. And so Mark is right. We are here fighting for the soul of this country. We have the Supreme Court who is bound to see a case in February that's going to argue on the Janus case where the working people are still going to have a voice and keep their unions. We are under attack and under assault by the Koch brothers of this country and the millionaires and billionaires who want to keep every single dollar that they have, and they want to do it on the back of working people. We are not standing for it, brothers and sisters. We are not standing for it. So on February 24th, we're come together on a date of action. At Folly Square, working people across this country and over 14 cities, they're going to come together to protest the right for being in a union, and protect the right to collectively bargain, and to protect the right to have health insurance, and protect the right to have equity at the job, and equal pay. And we are going to stand with them, brothers and sisters, and I invite you all to participate. Thank you. You know, during the state of Wisconsin, when Act Act was passed, Workers came out with a slogan, and I want you to help me. Because I'm a union organizer, I can't do this by myself. And the slogan went a little bit like this. It said, show me what democracy looked like. And the answer was, this is what democracy looked like. So I ask for your help today. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Thank you very much. Continue the resistance, brothers and sisters.
Women and men of the resistance, Cynthia Nixon.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you for being here. It is so wonderful and inspiring to be here in a night with such an amazing, dazzling assortment of speakers, and with all of you and your love and enthusiasm. Thank you so much for being here. So friends, as we know firsthand and as we have been hearing recounted so eloquently and so painfully tonight, this has been a dark year for America. For those of us who value quaint concepts like equal rights for all, economic and racial justice, combating climate change, many others, we have taken catastrophic steps backward. But there is someone who's been smiling at all this, who's been enjoying it, and I don't mean Donald Trump, who really must be miserable on some level, no? I mean, of course, Vladimir Putin, who along with his cronies had a plan to undermine America's faith in her own democracy by working to shift the election over to Donald Trump. Yes, but Vladimir Putin, I'm not so sure is. During the 2016 election, Russia hacked and released emails from Trump's political opponents, ran a propaganda campaign that flooded key battleground states with misinformation on social media, and even tried to gain access to state and local electoral boards. And Putin's emissaries found willing and eager allies in some of Donald Trump's top aides and closest family members who colluded with the Russians both before and after the election and then lied about it. How much the president knew is part of what's being investigated now, and the Donald is doing everything he can to make sure that that question remains unanswered. Putin wanted to undermine our democracy because it is the defining privilege and right we as Americans have to chart our futures, stand up for what's right, and enact the will of the people. In Putin's Russia, these are not ideals that are shared. He and his minions systematically abuse their own people's human rights. They jail journalists. They allegedly murder their opponents. And they attack members of the LGBTQ community. Their government is not a democracy, but an oligarchy controlled by a coterie of powerful and brutal elites. Let us be clear. Our American democracy is under attack. And we Americans need to not only cherish and protect it, but to fight for it. First and foremost, we need to make sure that Special Counsel Robert Mueller gets to conduct a thorough, unimpeded investigation of Russia's interference in our election. If Donald Trump tries to undermine this investigation or have his cronies fire Mr. Mueller, then he is himself a calamitous threat to American democracy, and we must hold him accountable. We must make the firing of Robert Mueller a stark line in the sand. And if Trump crosses it, we must take to the streets as never before. And make inaction untenable for every elected leader, progressive or conservative, Democrat or Republican. But in the meanwhile, we must fight daily for our democracy, which involves more grunt work from all of us in this auditorium and all of you out there watching online. Because the truth is, our democracy is not just under attack from overseas. We also need to fight for it here at home against corporate interests and billionaires that hold our democracy in a ferocious death grip. And from elected officials who abuse the public trust, Democracy is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So how do we fight for it? One way, of course, is via the ballot box. As important as the executive and judiciary are, the legislative branch is where so many of our priorities get determined, from spending decisions to actually serving as a check on the president, including in the Russia investigation. In 2018, with so many races fast approaching, it is vital that we work to elect progressive, diverse candidates for Congress and state legislatures across this country. But it is not just about voting, not anymore. Given the current state of the union, fighting for our democracy is going to require all of us everyday people to step up and take action, whether protesting anti-immigrant policies, organizing for women's rights, refusing to give polluters our business, demonstrating against police violence, or even taking the leap to run for office ourselves. Everyday people means more people of color, more women, more queer people, more first-generation Americans, more allies, and more people whose voices have been marginalized for far too long. We may not have million-dollar super PACs behind us, but we will have something more important: a shared mission uniting millions of people across this nation. So Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump and his enablers in the GOP Congress may think they have us on the ropes. They may think that our belief in true participatory democracy is waning, that we are complacent, that we are distracted, that we are just too beaten down from this horror show year we've had and the sickening prospect of 3 more like it. But we are here to prove them wrong. In 2018, each one of us has to do everything we can to reclaim our democracy from foreign and domestic threats that aim to imperil it. It is on us. There is no cavalry coming. We are the cavalry. If we want our democracy back, we have to get out there ourselves and seize it. Our nation's core is at stake, and that is worth fighting for. Thank you.
One of this evening's organizers, Fisher Stevens.
Hello. We know it's getting late. We're going to rock the house down here a little bit. I'm not going to speak about Donald Trump. I'm going to speak about 2 people that he's put into power that are going to affect all of our lives because they are environmental disasters. They're going to affect our children's lives and the life of the planet itself. And they are wreaking havoc, and I never want you to forget their names. And to make sure you never forget their names, I'm going to sing about them. And then I'm going to introduce a speaker. But I need a little help, so I've called about 4 hours ago now, I called my friend Gina Gershon to help me out. So Gina, please come out. Thank you, Gina.
Welcome, Fisher.
So this song, this little ditty, it goes a little bit like this. There's a man named Ryan Zinke. Got the moral compass of a Twinkie. Now the head of the Department of the Interior. A shriveled heart and a slick exterior. He's supposed to be responsible for protecting the people's lands. Instead, he's trying to put them in private hands. They say our national parks are our greatest attraction. Now he wants to open them up for fossil fuel extraction. Soon they will be polluted and covered with nasty debris. Not a tree left to climb or a rock to sit on, with a dream to be free. This man named Zinke, who claims to be Teddy, got rid of climate science programs already. He's just a shill for oil, coal, and gas. He actually rides his horse to work like a goddamn ass. He's opening up all the coastlines to mining and drilling. He's willing, he's billing. Man, I think the killing is thrilling. So remember his name. Curse his name. Revile his name. This man is insane. Ryan Zinke. It rhymes with pinky.
Who's the other guy now? Tell us about the other guy.
Then there's this man, I don't even want to call him a man, but there's this man named Scott Pruitt. Moved to D.C. and basically said, screw it. He's been anointed the head of the EPA. He's suing them yesterday, running the show today. Since taking office, he's been a man on a mission to make sure we keep increasing our carbon emissions. He doesn't believe in science because he's paid in full. Said the Paris Climate Accord is just a bunch of bull. He undid regulations protecting our air and our water. Endangered the lives of all our sons and all our daughters. He's already made many pesticides legal. After whining and dining with those chemical company people. Remember his name. Curse his name. Revile his name. This man is insane. Scott Pruitt. Why does he do it? Polluting our water. Polluting our air. We gotta get rid of these dangerous people. It's time we all care. Thank you. Gina, thank you. And if we turn the Congress blue, we can get rid of these two. They've broken many laws. Trust me. I would now like to introduce Winona Howder from Food and Water Action. Winona Howder. Thank you.
We are not going to forget their names. Are you ready to throw Trump, Pruitt, Zinke, the right-wingers in Congress out of office? In 1 year, they have gutted the EPA with draconian budget cuts and massive staff layoffs. They've opened public lands and waters to fracking and drilling. They've overturned key health and safety regulations. They've taken climate denial to a new level, scrubbing websites and silencing science. They've pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. They've approved the Dakota Access and Keystone pipelines. And they have turned their backs on the communities harmed by fracking and climate change, even ignoring the devastation in Puerto Rico. Let's come together and throw these bums out of office. But it is not enough to just say no to Trump and Pruitt and Zinke and all of the others. We must work towards a bold vision, one rooted in justice and equity, a world where everyone is cared for and their lives valued, a society where all people have clean water, healthy food, a good union job, and a livable climate. Let's think big as we work to win elections in 2018, 2020, and beyond. We can rebuild our water systems. We can ban fracking like we did in New York. We can stop dirty pipelines, and we will move off of fossil fuels. Already, over 100 candidates for Congress have pledged to support getting off of fossil fuels and transitioning into 100% renewable energy by 2035. By 2035. And we'll do this as part of a broad, progressive agenda alongside of other movements. Movements for racial justice, a livable wage, LGBTQ rights, immigrant rights, women's rights, labor, and many more. Together in November, we will bring about a progressive blue wave, a grand tsunami to take control of Congress, to advance an agenda of justice for all, and to protect our environment that we all depend on. Onward, onward.
From Stand Up America, one of our partners this evening, Sean Eldridge.
Good evening. Tonight, I am proud to represent Stand Up America and our community of over 1 million Americans across the country who are resisting Donald Trump and his dangerous agenda every single day. I started Stand Up America in the dark days after the 2016 election. And I have to admit that if you told me then that in January of 2018, Planned Parenthood would still be funded, the Affordable Care Act would still be the law of the land, and a record number of Americans would be enrolled, I would have called that pretty wishful thinking. But today, that's exactly where we are. Thanks to you. Thanks to the energy of millions of Americans standing up and fighting back, the resistance is winning. We fought to protect health care with hundreds of thousands of phone calls to Congress, with enormous town halls across the country, And with brave Americans like the disability activists in Washington, D.C., who literally put their bodies on the line at sit-ins to demand justice, and we won. And we've kept on winning. We've stood up at every single turn to Trump's lies, his corruption, and yes, his racism. The resistance has broken record after record for civic engagement in this country, from nationwide protests to phone calls to Congress, to the number of Americans who've raised their hands to run for office for the very first time. And we're just getting started. This November, if we continue to all do our part, the resistance is going to win big at the ballot box. And let's be very clear, taking back political power is not just about stopping bad things from happening. It's about building a better future. Winning in November is about repealing Trump's corrupt tax bill and replacing it with one that lifts up working families and demands that corporations pay their fair share in our country. Winning in November is about finally fixing our broken political system and passing citizen-funded elections to make sure that our representatives come from all walks of life, not just the wealthy and the well-connected. And it's about enacting real ethics reform to ensure that never again do we allow someone to profit off of the presidency in the United States of America. Never again. Winning in November is about paid leave. It's about restoring net neutrality. But to do all of that and so much more, we need you. We need you to keep fighting. We need you to keep marching. So tonight, I have a very specific ask of you. I'm asking you to commit to continue to make your voice heard this year in the halls of Congress and at the ballot box. So whether you're here in the audience or watching at the live stream at home, I need one quick second. I need you to grab your cell phone or a pen and to make sure that you're the first to know when your voice is needed. Text STAND to 668-366 and you'll get breaking resistance updates. That's the word STAND to the number 668-366. If we continue to all do our part, I truly believe that the history books will say that this administration was a temporary blemish on our nation's history, and that the American people rose up, fought back, and we corrected course. And to hear a bit more about what we all need to do to correct course, it's my honor to introduce one of the most passionate and committed activists out there. Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, Michael Moore.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And hello to those watching in Michigan, in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin. I'm looking at you. Where's that Wisconsin camera? Last year at our rally here in New York City on the eve of the inauguration, anybody remember that night? And again, 2 days later at the Women's March in Washington, D.C., I issued a to-do list of what we must do to tie Donald Trump up like we were a swarm of bees circling around his head and incapacitating him as much as we could by attacking him on 4 significant fronts: in the streets, in the courts, on the ballot, and forming an army of satire to get under that very thin skin of his. I asked you then, each of you individually, to do 4 specific things. Number 1, make the morning call to Congress. 202-225-3121 and melt the switchboards. You did that. Thank you. Number 2, join everything and show up. You did that. Thank you. Number 3, run for office and back women, and especially women of color running for office. And number 4, be kind to yourselves and to each other during this difficult time. We have had much success this year, and yet much damage has been done. Most of it out of sight, and much of it seemingly permanent. The need to remove him, and also any Democrat who is in the way of removing him. That is, at this point, a moral imperative for each and every one of us. But removing him and Pence and the whole disgusting lot of them in Congress and in our state capitals still won't be enough. We must remove and replace the system and the culture that gave us Trump in the first place. He did not just fall out of the sky and land in Queens. He is the result of a decades-long corporate takeover of our democracy and of us never correcting the 3 original sins of America. A nation founded on genocide, built on the backs of slaves, and maintained through the subjugation of women to second-class citizenship and economic disempowerment. That's how they've gotten away with it. As we seek to rid ourselves of Trump, we must also cleanse our American soul of its white male privilege, its voracious greed, and its enforced ignorance that has made a population of semi-literate and unaware people by wrecking their schools, closing their libraries, and dumbing down the media. That's how they got away with it. All of this must be fixed, or we will continue to have even more aberrated versions of Donald Trump. What? There's someone worse than Trump? Yes! But I will not conjure up that image for you because I don't want to wreck your evening. We started with Reagan. It's like been a depletion of the gene pool. Starting, you know, like when you make a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, by the time you get to the 10th Xerox, you got a bunch of crap on a piece of paper. This thing started with Reagan, worked its way through one Bush, then a second Bush, and now we got Trump. Don't think it can't get worse than Trump. It will get worse than Trump. So tonight, in order to help prevent that from happening, let me give you a new to-do list for 2018 so that we can keep this movement and this revolution marching forward to victory. Are you ready? I'll post this on my Facebook and Twitter so you don't have to write this down. Here is the 2018, where's the drum roll? The 2018 to-do list. Thank you. It's only 4 things. Number 1, a widespread, massive removal of Republicans from the House and the Senate, the likes of which this country has never seen. Oh! November 6th. November 6th. What's the day? November 6th. There is no more important day this year. Not your birthday. Not your wedding anniversary. Not Flag Day. Not St. Patrick's Day. November 6th. My friends, as much as I tried to warn the country that Trump was going to win by winning those 4 states, I am here tonight to tell you that I believe that we can accomplish this by a tsunami of voters overwhelming the polling places on November 6th so that no poll will be able to close as its stated time. I want to see thousands of polling places all across this great country with lines so long you can't see where the end of the line is. You can't see as you look out so many pink knitted hats, more pink knitted hats than the human eye has ever been able to bear. I want to see polling places having to stay open till 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. We won't leave the line. Nobody's leaving the line. It's going to be open till midnight. Nobody's leaving until we vote. And the reason this is going to happen is because for the first time, the million strong, the largest political party in America, the 100 million strong non-voters party, they will have shown up. Okay, maybe not all 100 million of them. But if we got just 2 million of them to show up, if we reached out and did the work we need to do, that would be enough. Do the math. Just 2 million of the 100 million. That these people are not apathetic. They're angry. They're not ignorant. They've been ignored. They're not lazy. They're livid. So much so that they just said, fuck it to the whole system. And the 8 million Obama voters that voted for Trump just wanted to throw a bomb into a system that had deserted them. We can win some of them back if we hold our hand out, if we do this for November 6th. We can't do that this year, but you're so right. And every time you mention the Electoral College, please call it the racist Electoral College, because it was founded on the principles of racism to give the slave states extra power. I believe the non-voters will show up if we give them a reason to show up. If we run the right candidates. If they see somebody that's really there for them and not the same old phony baloney crapaloni, they'll come out. I want everyone in here tonight and everyone who's watching at home to make this one simple commitment over the next 10 months. I want you to identify 20 people who did not vote in the 2016 election and get them all to the polls on Election Day, November 6th. Will you do this with me? I'll do it. If we all did it, 20 people, that's all you got to do. You got 10 months. All right. No, don't make it more. 20 is a lot. People have jobs. Some have 2 or 3. Number 2, you must run for office, or you must get the right candidates in your town to run. Now, there's still time to register in many states. If you're waiting for the official Democratic Party to do this job for you, well, I have some news for you. We're going to lose. Forget them. I want you to go home and I want you to announce that you and a group of others have formed the new Democratic Party of Bergen County or whatever county you live in. You don't have the time to get the old-time Democrats on board. Let them come on board. But you need, unless in your town or your county, you've got a whip-smart, progressive group of Democrats, you've got to move on quickly right now because we've got to get the right people running and we've got to win. And you can hold your hand out to the old-timey hack Democrats if they are willing to show a real effort to get behind single-payer health care, free college for everyone, a mandatory living wage, an end to mass incarceration, and support the Equal Rights Amendment. They can join the New Democrats. Number 3, please sign up for the impeachment campaign. I want you to ask everyone in your district who's running for office this question. Do you support impeachment? Every member of Congress and Senate must be asked this question. Be very clear about this. The purpose of the 2018 election is that we are electing the jury for the trial of Donald J. Trump. That's what the 2018 election is, my friends. We're electing the jury. We're electing the jury. We are the judge, Congress is the jury, and if a congressional candidate can't commit to impeachment, if they need to, well, I have to wait until I have more evidence, then exercise your power as a judge and a voter and do not put them on the jury. Finally, number 4, stop worrying about Pence. First things first. I mean it. Stop whining about Pence. I know why you're whining, because these first 3 things I've just given you to do seems like a lot of work. But that's okay. We have to do that work. Quit your belly aching about Pence and get to work. Don't worry about Pence. Leave Pence to me. I'll take care of Pence. I'll take care of him. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Resist, fight, don't give up. Michigan, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Schumer!
Thank you. Thank you so much. You are an amazing crowd. It is my great honor to bring my friend to the stage. And people say she's morally bankrupt, and I don't care about that. You judge for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Miss Wanda Sykes.
Thank you, Amy Schumer. Appreciate that. I'm surprised she's here. She voted for Trump, but oh well. No, she did not. Okay, folks, last year we saw the ugly underbelly of our country come out from its hooded sheets and terrorize America, and it was ugly. There were attacks on immigrants, LGBTQ people, Muslims, on Jewish communities, and more. In August, white supremacists and neo-Nazis marched with tiki torches through Charlottesville. Tiki torches. That ignorance led to so much violence and the death of 32-year-old Heather Heyer. No words can adequately convey that terrible loss or the righteous anger toward those responsible. Heather's last post read, "If you are not outraged, you are not paying attention." Well, Heather, we are paying attention. Our movement rose up against hatred, joining together for equality and justice. We came together And we must keep coming together to reject discrimination, to reject hate, and to reject those elected officials who have been complicit in the face of racism with their silence. Standing together, we've made powerful strides forward. We've taken down Confederate statues that were put up as symbols of racism and discrimination. We've not been silenced. Charlottesville elected its first black woman as mayor. Yeah. My fellow Virginians came out to vote and overwhelmingly rejected a racist candidate for governor. And let's hear it for Jamal Bickley King, president of New Virginia Majorities Board, who is here tonight and was instrumental in getting out the vote in that critical election. Where are you, Jamal? Well, this year we must assert our own voices even more. We did in Virginia, we did in Alabama, and let's hear it for the black voters too, especially the women. Yes, black women who came out and won in Alabama. Gotta listen to black women. We will reject racism at the polls. We will do this. This year, we assert our equality by asserting our voter power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for this beautiful night. Thank you to everyone here, and thank you to everyone who is watching right now across our country. We organized tonight on the eve of the State of the Union to celebrate the resistance movement and chart the path forward to victory in 2018. As you've heard from speakers, this is our moment. This is our moment to rise up above the energy of division to one of unity and love. And tonight is a launch event for We Stand United, an organization that I'm proudly the campaign director of and who led the charge in organizing this event. Thank you. We're a new campaign, and we're bringing together those in the entertainment industry, cultural leaders, and artists with activists and advocates to win on all of the issues and to win back our country, starting with Congress in 2018. I want to thank all of our partners who worked on this important evening, and I want to thank all of the incredible volunteers who made tonight possible by donating their time and talents. And I want to ask all of you tonight, if you want to help us keep growing, help us keep building this movement, to please take the time and energy to donate so that we can continue to grow We Stand United, to make it a very powerful force. And we ask that you take out your phones right now and make a donation, not just here in this room, but all over this country. And if you could take out your phones and text to the next slide, which I'm waiting for. Thank you to all of our sponsors, once again, who are up there right now. Move On, Stand Up America, Food and Water Watch, Credo, The Palm Restaurant, and we are still waiting on our slide. Please, here we go. Text United to 91990 to support We Stand United. And we're going to grow this. We're going to build out a massive campaign of entertainers and cultural leaders across our country to get engaged and to win back our country. Thank you so much.
Julia,
Julia Walshman, I'm telling you, she kicked my ass for years, and it's because of her we banned fracking in New York State. That woman is so damn capable. And she will not take no for an answer, believe me. So let's, United, 91990, please take part of this. So I'm pleased, we're coming to the end. It's been a long night, you've been so beautiful. I'm totally gut-wrenched from that beautiful tragedy our country's been through. I'm pleased to introduce the next speaker. He's built an amazingly successful business and now has generously dedicated to giving back and fighting hard to ensure that every family shares the benefits of economic opportunity, education, and a healthy climate. He's doing amazing work to strengthen our democracy, particularly by engaging young people, empowering and getting more young people to get involved in our movement. Yo, young people, come on. We need you. Us old people are getting tired. We did screw up your world. It's the ultimate act of rebellion against us. And I'm thankful for the work that Tom's doing. With Next Gen. Tom is a badass. He puts his money where his mouth is. And I want to introduce Tom Steyer. Give it up for Tom Steyer.
Wow. So you guys, January 29th, 2018. A year ago, the day after Trump's inauguration, we had the largest demonstration in American history, led by women, to start the fight for the soul of America. And what we've seen, that was about the passion and the outrage at the attack on our values and on our people. And subsequent to that, what we've seen is taking that passion and taking that outrage and turning it into effective organizations. That's what we've heard about tonight. We've heard about Power to the Polls, Indivisible, Woke Vote, immigrant rights groups, LGBTQ groups. What we're talking about is taking that passion, making sure that we turn it into registration, engagement, and voting. And what we're seeing, this is the heart of democracy. This is the heart of patriotism. The people in this room are the American patriots standing up for basic American values. And the most basic American value is the rights and dignity of every American. That is what is at stake in 2018. People want to make this a complicated election. I promise you the Republicans are going to try and explain what they're doing economically. But this is a simple question for all of us. This is right and wrong. And we don't compromise on the rights and dignities of Americans. When you look back on the civil rights movement, you realize that they weren't asking for incredible things. They were asking the right to vote for American citizens, the right to sit on a bus, the right to go to the bathroom, the most basic thing, the right to fair wages. We're not asking for incredible things. We're asking for decent things that this country should be providing. Health care for every American. Decent schools for every American. Voting rights for every American. How is it possible they think they can take that from us? Fair wages and fair working conditions for every working American. And justice for every American, including immigrants. Justice for every American. And let's talk for a second about environmental justice. Because one of the things that's going on is how many people this administration and this president and this Republican Party want to forget. So when we talk about the environment, we're talking about clean water and clean air for Americans, and we all know who doesn't have clean water and clean air. Poor people and people of color disproportionately suffer. So when we talk about the environment, we're talking about the right to be healthy. And one thing that hasn't been mentioned tonight, and I say this particularly because we're in New York City that has a huge Puerto Rican population. The people of Puerto Rico deserve to be taken care of. Whatever happened to that? So what we are seeing is a systematic attempt to take away the rights and the dignity of Americans, to make us less than full citizens, less than full humans, and people who can be disregarded systematically. And part of this is about grassroots. We're talking about, and our organization, Next Gen, is a huge, we believe in the broadest democracy. In 2016, with our partners, we knocked on 12.5 million doors. We registered 1.3 million Americans, and we're on 370 college campuses. We're going to do more. Because the fact of the matter is, we thought after we won in 16 it would all be good, and we all know what happened. So last year, when we organized in Virginia the young people, this is how grassroots works when it's right and when you have a cause to be behind. The percentage of young people who turned out in 17 versus 4 years ago in 13 went up by 32%. And the spread of Democrats over Republicans went from 5% to 39%. We need the young people. But let me say something else, and that's part of what we're talking about tonight. We have to start telling the true story in the United States. Because unless we tell the true story and we let them tell their lies, then 1,000 policies will come out of those lies. One of the stories that they refuse to tell is, we talked about Alabama tonight, and we had people from Alabama who made that happen. And I give them tons of credit. But it's about time we stopped saying that African Americans turned out to support the Democratic Party, and start saying that the African American community has been leading the moral cause in America for 400 years. It is time we start telling the truth about who is doing the work in America, who's providing the value in America, and who's getting the credit and taking the money in America. So that's why, look, we're doing need to impeach because we believe that this president breaks the law every day. And we believe it's critical to get his ass out of the White House. But more than that, we need to start telling our truths. It's critical. And in 2018, we're going to have 435 congressional seats up. We're going to have 33 Senate seats up. We're going to have 36 governor's seats up. And we're going to have 78 state houses up, meaning the state Senate and the state houses. So everything is on the table this year except the presidency. And make no mistake, we had a great 2017, politically. I mean, they were killing us with what they did with what they won in 16. But we had Virginia, we had New Jersey, we had Alabama. We had it going on in 17. But we have absolutely no right to overconfidence because they saw what happened in 17 too, and they are coming for us. If you read it last week, the Koch brothers committed to $400 million this year to re-elect Republicans. They are coming for us. That doesn't mean they win. That doesn't mean their money wins. But it means that we have to win because we are the people, and this is a democracy of people, not dollars. So I look at this very simply. It reminds me, for all the young people in the audience, this will be a brief history tutorial, but it reminds me of World War II. Because in World War II, we were unprepared, we were caught by surprise, and we just lost for a while. But when we started winning, we never lost again, ever. And that's where we have to go, is that we get on a roll, we run the table on these people, we kick them out, we do not compromise on our values. Come on, you guys, 2018, this has got to be our year where we leave absolutely everything on the table and get back to the kind of America that we were brought up to believe in, that we're pushing for. We won't go back, we will only go forward to a more just and prosperous country. Thank you very much for what you do.
To introduce our final speaker, Patricia Arquette.
Hello. I just want to say to my Indigenous brothers and sisters, thank you for allowing me to your territory. It's such an honor to be on this stage tonight with the past activists who stood here, with the activists tonight and leaders who we've heard from, for the leaders and activists in the room, and for those of you at home, because you are the leaders, and you are going to help save this country. There's a lot of things that we've dealt with this year that have been very difficult, but there's been little bright spots, and I want to point out one that we don't talk about very much. And Nevada in 2017 was the first state to ratify the ERA in 35 years. And that matters. While 85% of our population thinks that women have equal rights, we don't. And if you don't believe me, Justice Scalia said, certainly the Constitution doesn't require discrimination on the basis of sex. The question is whether it prohibits it. It doesn't. And Ginsburg said, to ratify the ERA would be the most important thing, the most important amendment that could happen in her lifetime. So we're 2 states away from the original amount of states we needed to ratify. And that could very well be Virginia, and that could very well be Illinois. And we have activists on the ground working very hard to make that happen, and why that really matters. And why we have to think about why that matters right now, in this time of Me Too and this time of Time's Up. Yes, it must be Time's Up, because when you have protected status under the Constitution, you have a 50-50 chance of winning a federal case. And you don't have those chances if you don't have protected status. You have a 30% chance of winning a case in a federal court. And why does that matter? Because 30 years ago, Christine Broncola brought to the highest court in the land campus assault case, a rape sexual assault case. And had she been able to win that case and prevail, we may not have the same issues with campus sexual assault today. We may not have, or we would have a basis to question why all 50 states had rape kits with the forensic material of rapists that sat on shelves unprocessed for decades, many thrown away. Even today, many of them we don't know where they are. We don't know certain states how many they have, and we have no chain of command of what happens in certain states with these rape kits. Women could challenge those things if we had the Equal Rights Amendment. So it's really critical to continue pushing towards that, and we have a lot of activists on the ground working towards that. And I want to say, I know you've been doing that without a lot of celebration and support, but I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing, and I think we should all support them in this. Because another case that was lost in the Supreme Court that really might have had a much 20% more likely chance of winning was Betty Duke's case on equal pay against Walmart. We lost Betty Duke's last year. Let's win our next case in the federal court. in Benedict's honor. So, yeah, we've had dark moments this year, but this is very exciting because there's so much activism in the streets. People are showing up, contacting their Congress people, raising hell at town halls, showing up for their brothers and sisters. But we have a lot at stake right here, right now, and we have a lot stacked against us. We have gerrymandering. And thank God we have a lot of great people working on that, but we have to push back against that. And we need our courts. We must win because we have to hold on to our courts so that we can win cases like gerrymandering when they get to the federal levels and to state levels. And we also need to look at voter purging. What is happening with voter purging, and we have to support our allies and our advocates on the ground working on that. And also, you young people out there, you know you can hack into anything. You think that these voting machines are safe? Did you watch DEF CON? They broke into every single voting machine in 30 minutes, okay? Many different voting machines, and they use many different ways. And we know that our republic has been impacted negatively by a foreign nation. Well, we're not going to give up our sovereignty. We're going to fight back. So the 2016 election showed everybody just how important our elections are and how important it is to vote. Every single vote matters. We have seen votes. We've seen elections decided on one single vote. So now we have to fight to ensure our elections are free and fair and that everyone has the access to vote. Our electoral victories in 2017 show us what is possible with these incredible activists and leaders we have, and that when we go out and vote, we win. We can elect diverse, inspirational, qualified candidates, and we can elect them everywhere. And thank you, Alabama, for proving that point. MoveOn.org is leading the charge, and tonight we are so fortunate to have their senior advisor and national spokesperson with us, the incredible Karine Jean-Pierre.
Woo! Hello, New York. Thank you so much, Patricia, for that wonderful introduction, and a special thank you to the progressive groups who organized this event tonight. And also for all their organizing in 2017. After all, you're why we're here today and how the resistance came to be. Thanks to the passion and the tenacity of the people like you, we are here, united, organized, electoralized, and ready to resist. We come together tonight, united as people who Donald Trump refuses to represent. Working class families, people of color, women, millennials, the LGBTQ community. The vast majority of Americans are left to languish in Trump's America. Yet, in the face of division and hate, we stood in solidarity and strength. We united to form a resistance to his illegitimate, immoral leadership. And then we started to a path of victory. A year ago, a darkness swept over our country. Donald Trump's ascension to the White House represented a tide of hatred, long simmering in America, swelling to new heights. His presidency allowed racists to live their best bigoted lives and billionaires to rob the middle class. Many of us had never felt a moment as dire and desperate as this one. But we did not give up or go home. We resisted. When the man who bragged about assaulting women was inaugurated, we resisted.
When the Women's March flooded the streets with pink hats, powerful messages, and support for women's rights, when Trump tried blocking Muslims from entering our country, we resisted. We occupied airports and blocked the ban. When Trump and Republicans tried stripping health care away from millions of working families, we resisted. We protested outside of district offices and invaded the hallways of Congress. When Trump threatened to deport millions of immigrants, including Dreamers, we resisted. We continue to fight for the passage of a Clean Dream Act and the protection of our immigrants. Last year, we proved that resistance was powerful. And then we started bringing that power to the polls. Through electoral victories in Virginia, Alabama, and elsewhere, we proved that our resistance was electoralized. And we were serious about making a government that looks like us and represents us. The importance of 2018 election is so much more than what Beltway insiders will tell you. This election is about more than just the fate of the House and the Senate. It is more than the fate of state houses and governors' mansions. It is more than the fate of redrawing of electoral districts to be more fair. This is about the power of the people who Donald Trump has attacked and ignored. It is about Americans standing up for their values and rights. It is about people fighting for their neighbors, families, fighting for their future. And it is about a resistance ready to reclaim our country from the hands of those who hate us. United by our values and energized by our opposition, the resistance is ready to bring the power to the people, to the polls. If 2017 was about resistance fought back, 2018 will be about how we won our country back. Thank you.
To lead us in the benediction, Reverend Jackie Lewis.
Hey, everybody. I said, hey, everybody. There we go. We're still here, right? We're here for all of us, and I understand there's 500,000 people watching us online. My job right now is to give you a blessing, a benediction. But I want to tell you something. You are a blessing to me. You get invited to these things because you're a pastor, and that means you believe in God, and I do. I'm a Christian pastor who believes there's more than one path to God. And on the days when I feel down or depressed or upset or disappointed or frankly just pissed the hell off at what's happening in America, it's people like you that give me faith. You are already a blessing. You're a blessing because you're morally courageous. You're a blessing because you have an imagination to create together the nation that we believe in. You are a blessing because when the going gets tough, you get going. You go to the polls, you organize, you march, you stand up, you protest, you tweet love. You are a revolution in progress. Amen? So I want to know if you'll stand up because it's lonely. I want you to stand up. And I don't want to be giving you a blessing. I want us to bless each other. Would you do that? It's been a long and beautiful and amazing night, right? And I'm struggling with allergies, and I'm not a singer. But I'm inspired by Alicia Keys. Why are we here? We are here. Do you know that? We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Will you do that with me? Come on now. We are here. You sound like a choir. We are here for all of us. Come on now, give me little snaps. We are here for all of us. That's sounding really good now. That's why we are here. Why we are here. Come on now. We are here. Sing it like you mean it. We are here for all of us. Oh yeah. We are here for all of us. Yes, we are. Why we are here. Why we are here. Then she gets really jiggy with it and goes. She goes, oh, 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 oh. Come on, y'all. Oh, one more time. Oh, 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 oh. Let me hear those singers make some harmony. Come on now. Mm-hmm. Oh, 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 oh. I want to tell you, my faith is in the people. The people who know that the only way to put out hatred is with love. And the only way to save our union is with revolutionary love. It's empathic, it's intersectional, it's connected. We know that we can't be who we are until everybody is who they're designed to be. So go and be the love revolution. Go and be the love revolution. Ain't no revolution like a love revolution, and the love revolution won't quit. Ain't no revolution like a love revolution. Love revolution won't quit. Woo! Believing in you.